Hi guys, so another movie that starred today in the cinema is Hacksaw Ridge. This movie is absolutely fantastic, especially for a war film. I don't usually watch many war films, but this film is so incredible that it's kind of one of those movies that happens every decades or so that just sticks with you. The performance by Andrew Garfield, he plays Desmond Doss, which the film follows as he's the World War II Army medic that kind of stayed when everyone retreated, and he saved between 50 and 100 people's lives by himself. So it's absolutely incredible, this story. It's so touching, and the performance by Andrew alone is just outstanding. I haven't seen many of his movies, to be honest. I've seen him in Amazing Spider-Man, and I absolutely love him in that. But that performance doesn't even remotely compare to how amazing he is in this film. The cast is so huge. As it's a war movie, there's bodies everywhere, there's a million extras, but the cast itself is amazing. You've got Sam Worthington, Vince Vaughn, Hugo Weaving, Teresa Palmer. There's just such a huge cast, and they all kind of stand out in their own way and kind of each have their charisma to why this character kind of stands out. They're not all the same. You can basically tell who's kind of the hard ass as soon as they're introduced. This storyline is so brilliantly told over the 2 hours and 18 minutes duration. So you kind of have a flashback scene here and there, kind of explaining more of Desmond's background and kind of why he makes certain decisions that he does. Now, before I saw this film, I never saw the trailer. I didn't really know anything about it except it was about a World War II Army medic. So I kind of went in blind, and just the way they tell the story, and you don't need to watch the trailer. I actually just recently watched the trailer, and the trailer gives far too much away. It's amazing how much shit they put in trailers these days. Like, you don't need that much of the movie. So if you've seen the trailer, you're probably going to be disappointed seeing the movie because it really does show so much. But if you haven't seen the trailer, I highly recommend going to see the movie right now before you even have a risk of accidentally seeing it. It is a fantastic movie. The visual effects and makeup effects and just is incredible. When they're like fighting and you've got limbs blowing off everywhere, just the way they do it it's really remarkable. It kind of reminds me of how people always talk about Saving Private Ryan. I've never actually seen Saving Private Ryan. I know I'm a terrible movie critic for that fact, but kind of everyone always talks about like it's such a honest and truthful war movie, where I feel like this also meets the criteria. So if you like that type of war movies and type of realism, like, you should definitely go and see Hacksaw Ridge, especially if you haven't seen the trailer, because it will ruin it. And just, not only is the performance incredible, Mel Gibson did such a fantastic job directing this film. Now, I know Mel Gibson's kind of been met with criticism throughout the previous years because he's done some crazy shit, but I don't want this film to be punished for kind of his mistakes. This film is so remarkable that I feel like it's not going to be cherished as much as it should. And kind of it deserves so much promotion and just so much attention, because it really does do a wonderful job of not only just telling the story of what happened to Desmond Doss in his life, but also just telling kind of the story for a lot of the characters and kind of how they deal with it before and then during the war. Like, you can see a lot of the guys in the army have already started to get symptoms of PTSD. So, like, that's how remarkable some performances are. Like, it draws light to that, and I feel like a lot of films kind of escape concentrating on what happens during the war. They kind of concentrate on limbs are getting blown off, people are dying, but not what's happening to the psyche of having to kill someone. So it's a really great film. I really, really loved it, especially because I saw The Accountant in the morning, and that was such a fantastic film. I'm like, there's no way this can be better than The Accountant. And then they were both just remarkable films that will stay with me. And I imagine both are going to make it to my top 10 films of the year because they were just really good. So if you have the opportunity to see Hacksaw Ridge, I highly recommend it because it's one of those really great films. Even if you don't like war movies, I'm not a huge fan, and this movie made me cry. It made me happy for certain survivors, and just, I honestly can't recommend it more, especially if you're a fan of Andrew Garfield, because he's perfect in this film. And just, I fell in love with him all over again. So definitely go check it out, and I hope you liked my review.